Bo Nix is certainly used to having his game analyzed and overanalyzed, especially when he was at Auburn.
Oh yeah.
But the way he performed this past season, less criticism coming his way after turning in 44 touchdowns total, despite hobbling around the last few games, and that taking away his running threat. So, your thoughts about Bo Nix is what we saw in 22 pretty much what you would expect to see this year?
I think for the most part, yes. He does have a new offensive coordinator who he doesn't really know, who he's getting to know. I think right now with summer workouts or texting or whatever, and that took place in spring ball, will take place again in fall camp. But Bo Nix's most productive offensive seasons have come when Kenny Dillingham has been his offensive coordinator. Dillingham wasn't the play caller in 2019 at Auburn, but Dillingham was a season ago, and the prove it moment and feeling for Bo Nix right now is, what can you do without Kenny Dillingham? And I think the answer to that question is yes, but I can't guarantee that answer is yes, because the guy that you're talking to after you throw a touchdown, after you go 3 and out, after you throw an interception, after you miss a read, your relationship as a quarterback with that guy up in the booth, and Will Stein is the OC and the quarterback's coach, so that's who he, it's all in there. He doesn't have two voices that are going to be telling him that, and Dan Lanning's a defensive guy, not that Lanning never coaches. I think that's a really big misconception generally. Like, when you have a defensive head coach or an offensive head coach that were, a former offensive or defensive coordinator, it's not as if once they become the head coach, in most instances, they're just never coaching players on one side of the ball. Like, that's not a thing. It's not as if Lanning has never coached Bo Nix on anything, right? Like that, it's not as if that hasn't happened. So Lanning is still there, yes, but the most important voice is certainly his play caller, right? And those two gelling and implementing what Will Stein wants to do offensively, which he's indicated is a lot of what Oregon did a season ago, and understanding, hey, when we run this player, when we have this concept, this is what we're looking for. This is what we want. There are going to be some nuances to the offense that, didn't exist a year ago, because you have a different voice there. You have a different guy. And it's not that Bo Nix can't make that change. He's had different offensive coordinators. He had, I think, a different OC all 3 years he was at Auburn. He had at least 2 different offensive coordinators. And Malzahn was always there as his play caller, but he still got better with a different OC, different voices, coming and going. He still improved his completion percentage year after year after year when he was a Tiger. So I'm inclined to believe that for a guy that is entering his 5th year starting in college football at the Power 5 level, that set the Oregon single-season completion percentage record a season ago, that had 44 total touchdowns, was in the Heisman race, and helped Oregon, to a Holiday Bowl victory in a 10-win season, I'm inclined to believe that he's going to be able to put up at least similar numbers to a year ago. But he's got the new OC factor. He's got a new offensive line as well. He's going to have a new center. He's going to have a new left tackle. That can be a change. And I don't think the offensive line could possibly be as dominant as it was a season ago, though it should still be good for the Ducks with their new offensive line coach, Alik Terry. So I think that those are fair questions to ask about Bo Nix and the Ducks, but is he capable of, overcoming those potential hurdles? Yeah, absolutely.
Spencer, have you seen enough from Ty Thompson to be confident that if he's got to bridge 2 or 3 games, if Bo gets nicked up, that he can do it and keep a championship season on track?
No.
Okay.
That is a hot topic amongst Oregon fans, but the general consensus from what we have seen is no. He has the arm talent. He's got better athleticism than you think, stands tall in the pocket, but from what we've seen in, the garbage time reps he's taken, the spring games, he just doesn't look super comfortable out there. Maybe he just needs another fall camp. Maybe he just needs a few more reps. I don't know. He's never been given the reins for, a regular offense, right? He came in when the game was still on the line for that, what ended up being a fateful drive against Washington. He just handed the ball off 4 times. And Oregon wasn't able to gain 10 yards on those 4 plays, unfortunately. But I think it was telling that, you put the backup in there and you didn't trust him to throw the ball once. Now, Oregon's run game had been dominant. It had been dominant all game against the Huskies, so I understand coming out and running the ball first and foremost, but they did not trust him to throw the ball when they needed to be able to move the chains in a tie game late in the situation. And I think that combined with the fact that he's going into year 3, Mark, and two different staffs have now gotten a look at him and said, hey, he's not a starting quarterback. So if Bo were to go down and not be able to play, I would not feel great about Oregon's chances, because look, I would love to be proven wrong. I really, really would. I like the kid. He's, by all accounts, he's a hard worker. He's a good kid. But he just has not given us as fans the confidence to where we say, oh yeah, if Bo Nix goes down, oh, we're fine, right? That just hasn't happened. He's not able to make simple throws. He hasn't been able to execute the offense. He feels like he's a little bit robotic in the pocket, not super comfortable making reads all the time. A lot of the little stuff that comes with executing an offense, it just seems like he hasn't had that. He hasn't had that click. Like, the light hasn't gone on for him. He just doesn't look like he is in command or in control. Whereas when Bo is there, you never have any doubts about whether or not he feels that way.